is sensitive. His own is garnished with matrimonial rascality. I've said this on this platform before, that it is impossible for you to campaign or looking stupid.
Their conversations, their manifestos.
So, because the man is Igbo, it doesn't matter. The fact of being Igbo makes him unelectable. How can you trust him?
If President Buhari supports Bola Tinubu, he is not a true Muslim. A man with this type of moral decay have no moral grounds to come to a respected studio like this.
Join us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. for a holistic bumper-packed political showpiece on Super 88.1 FM.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning as we look at the road to 2023. 11 days before the general elections. 11 days before the general elections. It's something that is quite interesting that I didn't even think that it got closer so soon. But now we're just 11 days away from the elections, from going out to cast our votes for who will be seated in the number one office in the land, to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you for joining. You can join us across the socials this morning at Super FM /Benin. You can join us also at Super FM Benin on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube this morning. We're all live. You can go check it out. We have a live feed right there. You can also download our app from the Play Store. All you just need to do is search for Super FM Global, install it, and you can take us anywhere you want to take us this morning. All right, I never do this alone. Honorable Gbenga is on the other side. Honorable, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Chuksi.
Welcome, sir.
Right.
Now, we are 11 days away.
Oh, yeah, 11
from
days
the elections.
Presidential election.
From the presidential election. And just 7 days after that, I think so.
No,
almost 2 weeks.
March 11.
Yeah. After that, we would now
2
be
weeks.
having, we'd then be having the governorship election in certain states, state houses of assemblies, and into the and I'm really looking at generally before we had the conversation just now, I was just looking at Nigeria's preparedness, right? This is not about INEC now. Nigerians, our preparedness to the general election, the ambience in the air, so far so good. We could say that campaigning this year, for me, if you ask me, in all the elections I have seen, I think that this is the least I've seen with campaigns.
Least in what sense?
In terms of how people would usually how you would see the streets littered with campaign materials. You only see, especially like here in Edo State. Let me speak from where I live in, Edo and Delta, and visited Edo, Delta, Lagos, Ogun States in this election.
Let's limit to where you live, because if you don't live in the place, you don't really know. Just go to one particular place and you return. You don't really go around all the senatorial districts.
So Edo State, I haven't really seen a lot of electoral activities as compared to the governorship election in 2020, and even as compared to the presidential election in 2019. There was a lot of activities, a lot of activities, but you could barely see that this period, it's the electionary movement, the publicity materials seem to be limited to certain areas, in tiny bits, not the way you would usually see it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I've lived here for a while, and I know the way
that the visibility is not.
It's not the visibility this year. It's not so much, but in spite of that, there is a large awareness, in the minds of people that there is election, and people are generally having conversations about who they want to vote for, even without that number of publicity. I mean, you can literally count the amount of jingles, radio jingles, TV jingles that goes. I'm in the media space, so I would know about this, But the awareness in people's mind is awesome. It's just something beautiful to see that even without so much being done, there's an awareness. And so I was having a conversation with my friend. My friend then said that if the economy is not meeting up to expectation, if people's livelihood is taken away gradually, if people don't feel safe, then that's in itself is a publicity to get the right people into office. And then it made a lot of sense to me. And then I thought, it's true. You don't need, you really don't need publicity materials at this point to know that you need to vote the right persons into office.
Well, let's take it one after the other, because a number of questions jumped out from what you have just said. Now.
Yeah.
Let's look at maybe visibilities on the street. I think here in Edo State, perhaps the fact that there will be no Guba election within this cycle of elections, this 2023 general elections, is chiefly one of the reasons you don't seem to see a lot of activities on the streets that we call visibility. You see, the Guba election, it's one of the biggest, one of the most important. And when you bring elections to the state level, it's the biggest at state level. The ranking next to it is when you also have the local government elections. Because when you have the local government elections in a state, all the LGs, everywhere you are on the territory of a state, is within an LG.
Yeah.
So you can imagine when every territory in the state is involved in the election. Then when you also have the Guba election, is the person who is going to govern every territory in that particular state that will emerge from that election.
Yeah.
And you have a number of candidates and political parties that are vying for that particular office. So you see a lot of activities. And at that level, it's a bit local. It's a bit of, I know you, you know me. So we meet on same street, we meet along the road, and there will be a number of activities. All the ward leaders will be well galvanized. But because we don't have that now, what do we have? We have the presidential election, which is everywhere. And, it may amaze you to also learn that the leading aspirants have all visited Benin at one point or another to campaign.
Yeah, they have.
The APC presidential candidate has been here. That's Bola Tinubu. Alhaji Atiku of PDP has been in Benin to campaign. And Peter Obi has also been in Benin to campaign. And for those vying for senatorial and House of Reps, you know, at a time because of what happened in the PDP too, and with a lot of them not knowing who exactly was going to be the candidate of the party at the time. And don't forget that PDP is the ruling party in this state. So there was a bit of a lull in that regard, in that respect. And maybe because the other parties who are in opposition here maybe they didn't start early with a lot of, then you can also rule out the situation with paucity of funds. The state of the economy, which, you say, again, has also affected what is in people's pocket, and maybe has also affected the budgets of respective candidates and parties on what they can spend on outdoor, on what they can spend on adverts in the electronics media, radio, TV, newspapers, and all that. So paucity of funds and the dire strait of the economy has also affected budgets for those type of things. And again, when you also do not, at a stage, you are not too sure of who was participating from the ruling party, which is PDP in this state. We are talking concerning Edo State now. So that might have taken the shine off some of those things. And you know, again, we also heard some rumors at a time that some persons were in the habit of removing people's posters, defacing posters, and also defacing their billboards. So when you don't have as much billboards as you should have had, then you are not going to also be seeing that visibility all around as you would have seen it. So far, so good. All of these have also been very much responsible, yes, for most of those things you expected that you have not seen. Then to jump on the other side of the picture you painted that, well, Nigerians are sensitized. I don't think there is any adult Nigerian that stand to be corrected. It has to be in a very remote place, extremely remote, that we cannot even begin to imagine the depth of the remoteness of the place at the moment. That is not aware of the forthcoming elections. That has not been sensitized, that has not been told about the importance and the need for him or her to have his PVC. You know, a lot had gone into that. And like rightly mentioned, because of the situation in the country, what we have experienced in recent years in Nigeria, is it about the security? Is it about the economy? Is it about the ease of doing business? Is it about the ease of living life? Is it about poverty? Is it about hunger? You can go on and on and on. Is it about the dilapidation when it comes to infrastructure in the health sector? Is it because it is almost zero when you talk about healthcare delivery? Is it about the quality of education? Is it about what has actually happened? How tertiary education has been badly affected? How virtually every university student in the past 4 or 5 years has had almost automatic 2 years extension to their program. So all these problems have also highlighted and it has helped in making profound the level of awareness, the level of political consciousness. Now, conversations have also been out there. Then again, the third realm, that which is journalism, has also helped to make sure that the conversations have been across platforms, digital and non-digital, the traditional media, the new media, sensitizing the people, giving them political awareness. So the level of political awareness, education, and sophistication has been on the rise. And when this has been on the rise, the level of political indifference and apathy have also reduced. So people now know the importance of vote. And most importantly, which I think, we should also see as one of the maturation process and evidence of our political evolution in Nigeria. I think Nigerians also know now that if we turn out in our large numbers, en masse, votes will count. So people also now have more respect for their votes. People now also understand that their vote is as strong and almost as potent, if not more potent than a bullet. Because what it means is that with that your vote, you can actually decide what your life will look like for the next 4 years, which is the life of that vote. Which is the expiration period of that vote. So people have realized that. People have also understood the power in using that power because it will count. So when you put all these factors together, then you have a nation that is galvanized, you have a people that are sensitized, and you have a people that are ready to exercise their franchise.
This is really interesting, Honorable. And then let's also look at the state of security in Nigeria at the moment. Because in the days leading up until today, we've seen an onslaught on a lot of, bandits, terrorists, kidnappers in the northeast, in the northwest, in the southeast, precisely. We've seen a lot of onslaughts. Just yesterday, today's Tuesday, from the defense headquarters, 409 have been neutralized so far, and some of them have surrendered with their families to the Nigerian government.
We've also heard about the menace of unknown gunmen.
Enugu,
Anambra, Imo states.
It's almost, you look at it from one standpoint and say, okay, the military are doing so well, because some of them,
in fact, overstretched.
Some of them are, of course, the Minister of Defense said it today.
It's overstretched.
It's amazing how you see these people, and they pay the ultimate price. Some of them pay the ultimate price. Just last week or yesterday, the governor of Delta State, Governor
security aides were shot.
Do you understand?
And 4 of them.
And he paid some of them visit the family members. So these guys are throwing their lives on the line and paying the ultimate price. I would also not forget some also happened in Edo State. Let's not forget the kidnapping that took place at the train station right there in Gbenga. And so the security state. I know that you are not speaking for the security, but you are speaking as a concerned Nigeria and as an analyst who's seen it for a while now. Are we looking close to having a free, fair election where people can come out to vote, and not have their hearts put on their hand?
Now, you see, the issue of insecurity, the scale at which we have experienced it in recent years, not just because of this forthcoming election. Because if you ask me, we've had insecurity with us for years now. When you trace the history of insurgency with Boko Haram, it's well over 10 years.
Well over that, yeah.
And it has built steadily over time. Then maybe because Boko Haram went on for so long and not totally decimated or technically defeated, as somebody wanted us to believe some years back, ISWAP also came in. and also brought in their own menace and doing their own thing and making life difficult and increasing the intensity of flare-up of insecurity in the northeast, in the northwest. Then again, at the time, we also have the issue, very rampantly, the issue of killer headers who sacked communities. I mean, a number of states sacked communities, killed people. People cannot access their farmlands again. People were displaced and dislodged from their ancestral homes. Then we also have the issues of banditry, especially in the northwest, where kidnapping became a huge enterprise and schools became soft targets with students kidnapped from different schools. It all started with the infamous Chibok girls, and then later the infamous Dapchi girls, the Kangara students. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
Niger State, Kaduna State, some university students, at undergraduates at a time. And at some point, not too distant from now, we heard of some real disturbances and threats, even in Abuja.
And let's not forget Owo also.
And let's not forget how people were massacred in the church in Owo. And how there have also been killings of clergymen.
Katuna, yeah.
I mean, in different places. So the issue of insecurity has built over time, and we cannot totally attach it to this forthcoming election, because even before we got too close to this election, we have had the issue of insecurity at a very high level. So for me, getting close to the election now, it's also unfortunate the menace of gunmen that we hear here and now, and engagement with insurgents, with bandits, by members of the armed forces. But I think it has not been so overwhelming that we will now say because of that it is a threat to the elections.
Yeah.
So far, with the what we have been getting from those who should know, and when it comes to elections, the most authoritative source to hear from first is INEC. INEC, for more than upteenth time now, had said that it is ready for the election. There will be no cancellation and there will be no postponement of the election. Then the federal government, epitomized by the president himself, President Muhammadu Buhari, has also said it for the upteenth time, and of course said it loud and clear to those who care to listen, that he wants to enthrone the legacy of free, fair, and credible election, and he has not said anything to the otherwise. Now there have been rumors, there have been unconfirmed rumors and speculations. We don't give voice to unconfirmed rumors and speculations. So up until this minute, I don't think there is anything that is threatening the sanctity of the February 25. I don't think there is anything that has happened that will make us to start thinking that that date may not be realistic again in most parts of the country.
Okay.
Now, INEC has told us, I think, about 248 polling units where elections will not hold for sundry reasons. INEC have also come clean with that and given reasons. And you see, INEC chairman in recent times has been engaging with the different stakeholders, and especially with security chiefs. And security chiefs have also vowed and expressed their commitment to make sure that there is no security threat to the election. And I want to largely also say, with almost 90% assurance, that we still do not have any reason at the moment to think that there will be a sudden flare of insecurity that will become a real urgent and present threat to the election. So far, it looks safe to plan ahead for February 25.
So far, it looks safe to plan ahead for February 25th is the words of the Honorable this morning. Now, you can join the show and share with us your thought this morning. We're just looking generally at the days leading up to the elections and antecedents and some of the things that we are expecting for these general elections come the 25th of February 2023. By the way, that's 11 days away from now. We would all be going out to cast our votes and hopefully get the right persons into office, because we are at the precipice right now. And whether we like it or yes, we need immediate help as a country to get us on the track to take over the baton from His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, the GCFRO, right here, so that we would be able to go to the next phase and go to the next point of greatness for this great nation.
One thing about
Nigeria.
elections is that it gives rise to hope.
Yeah.
because the aspirants have gone around. They've made a lot of promises. They've told us they are going to reverse all the deficits that we are experiencing with the different indices of our economy in terms of security. They've made all sorts of promises. They've raised people's hopes. And based on the promises that they have made, people have more or less also made up their mind which horse they are going to back in the race. And people are upbeat and optimistic that, okay, the horse that will win the race eventually will be able to bring succor and will be able to make life better. So when we are within and around the election environment and premises like this, there is hope that, okay, that civic responsibility we are going to perform on that day has the magic wand to turn the situation around. I just hope that our optimism is well-founded this time around.
All right, 0705 512 9881 or 0705 5727 881. Those are the numbers to join us with this morning on the show if you want to call in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good morning, Mr. Chukwu, Mr. Gbenga. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Fidel. I'm calling from Papa right now.
All right, Fidel, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that the level of awareness, despite that there is no governorship election in Edo State, is very high. Very, very, because there's no three major leading political party that is contesting now that they don't have a billboard around the city of Benin. I would say that I move around Benin, I would tell you the awareness is top-notch. And even on jingles in the Super FM and other sister radios, they are coming up and other. So that's that. And my major concern is the alarm that the INEC have raised that at about 240 polling units, there will not be election there. And with Taraba and Imo State being the highest. So it got me thinking. So does it mean that there's a high level of insecurity in Imo State and Taraba compared to the center of banditry around the nation state? So I don't know, you are an analyst, you are a journalist. I don't know if you can really look into that because there are a lot of questions that have been raised which I have not been able to get an answer. So
okay.
They said that it's due to security reasons. So the reason I'm saying this because of the second fact you raised based on the security level around that. So will that be able to curtail or address the insecurity fear towards the election? That's my question, sir.
Okay, Mr. Fidel, let me read something out to you. This is a statement put out by INEC, right? Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has said that 240 polling units across the country do not have any registered voters. All right? Any registered voters, which will impede conduct of the general elections in those locations. Now, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, made the revelation after a meeting with political parties held in Abuja. Yakubu recalled that the commission had made effort to redistribute voters to polling units in order to avoid the congestion and made voting cumbersome in many of those areas. So insecurity, it's not the official statement that INEC put out. They put out that no registered voters. So not insecurity, please. And that's why I had to go back to get that information out. It is not for insecurity. It is no registered voters in those 240 polling units.
The reasons, number one, 4 reasons have been articulated by INEC.
Yeah.
The first one being that no new registered voters in the affected polling units. Then number 2, which is the second reason advanced by INEC, new number of polling units. The INEC chairman said the 23 general elections will now only hold in 176,606 polling units instead of the initial 176,846. So if you take the 240 out of the lot, it is not so insignificant for us to call it alarming or a threat to the election. Yeah. Even though I don't like it if anybody is disenfranchised. But again, areas. There are some situations that you just cannot mitigate against. Then third one, expanded polling units. Some polling units have also been expanded
to swallow up some
other ones. And finally, of course, INEC have found it difficult to be able to stage elections in those places. So we just have to take it on our chin. If over 176, almost touching 177 100,000 polling units in Nigeria, it's only 240.
That they cannot. It's better that
for sundry reasons. I don't think that is alarming.
Yeah, and it's even better.
So to use the word alarming, I think is maybe a bit out of
and it's better, Honorable Gbenga, that INEC is even coming out before the day of the election.
And they have not said it is strictly because of insecurity.
Yeah. That's why I went to get out those points, Honorable. And thank God you also expanded it. Of course, insecurity might be part of it, might not be part of it, but INEC has come out to say for this election, 214 polling units, we cannot hold elections in those places. And in my opinion, it is better, or rather...
And let us also be warned ahead of the elections. Like INEC has also said that any places where there are significant irregularities or disturbances, that automatically may make INEC to void elections in such places. So if you also want election to count, you want your decision to count in your area, be peaceful, and make sure that whatever you do...
No malpractices.
And please, shun every lure to allow yourself to be used to perpetrate any act of irregularity.
All right.
Please shun it.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Mr. Osagi, calling from Madua community.
Mr. Osagi, welcome. Please go ahead.
Let me first of all applaud my honorable there for his analysis. They are very clear. I think in addition, I also want to thank INEC for now for giving us the data of what happened in those various states. That's no registered voters or new voters, so that for analysis and for collections later, so that they'll be able to know that those persons, nothing like that happened in that particular place. So that in case of influence of votes, I think I want to throw more light on is that, to me, the level of awareness about this election or how to vote is not on a geometric progression, because rather, by now, I believe that INEC could have been doing much more than what they are doing now, because many persons don't even know how to go about, like those people that have just come off 18 years now. So let INEC, the colossal amount of money they have, let them try as much as possible. Mass media should be the place whereby they will sensitize people. In addition, we pray that this election that is coming up should be one of the best and peaceful elections in this country. And also what I also said, strong warning. Any center where there is irregularities, where you have 10,000 voters, you now have a 11 voters, that center will be cancelled. Any center where there is violence, that center will be cancelled. So to all the political parties and the agents, let them be a good ambassador to their various polling units or wherever they are, so that at the end of it, they'll get a better result for Nigeria. That's my submission, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Osagi.
Let me also quickly make a clarification. Mr. Osagi said with the colossal amount. They don't actually have colossal amounts at their disposal. I was at a party where that was addressed by the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, sometime in December. And he said it there, that everything they are doing is well budgeted for and it went through transparency processes. And that the only extra budgetary allocation they have for incidentals is 10%. And he was saying that of course, when people think that if INEC facilities are attacked and the sensitive materials are destroyed, there is a bottomless pit of money to take money from. That there is no such bottom. It's just an assumption in the mind of the people that they only have 10% to take care of such incidentals and unforeseen circumstances. And so it is not as colossal as people think. The amount might sound big, but if you also look at the number of items that INEC has to deal with, and those things don't come cheap, I mean, the amount you think is colossal would pale significantly.
All right, let's get a few more calls, Honorable, before we go this morning. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Chokri.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Gbenga.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling again. This is Fidel.
All right, Fidel, go ahead, please.
Yeah, please. In terms of the security and the insecurity stuff we're talking about, so I don't know, you are aware as a journalist that the campaign that happened in Lagos, the particular political campaign that happened in Lagos on the 11th of September, the violence and all that. So I don't know what the security agency in that state, Lagos State, are doing to discourage that, because we saw that talks we are expecting a political party member going for a campaign. So I don't know what the security agency are doing there to ensure such thing will not happen or during election day. So far so good. I don't think if I've heard anything about what the state police is doing about to curtail that such menace that happened, because a lot of properties were destroyed. People were injured. Up to now, I have not heard from the journalists that or such what the police are doing to contain that. Because if care is not taken, such thing, if it is just if nothing is done about it, I believe such talk will also be encouraged. On that election, they may increase violence on people that are going to vote. So I don't know what the security agents have done so far to discourage such acts.
Well, I want to believe that those particular incidents that you mentioned, perhaps investigations are still going on. I know that investigations are not things that are advertised on the pages of national newspapers.
Absolutely.
So investigations must have been going on, and concerned authorities are looking into them. And maybe this will also give rise for those who have been advocates to create special courts for electoral crimes, so that electoral issues can be easily and quickly dispensed and dealt with. But what I'm trying to say is that, of course, it's not as if we've not seen some little disturbances and acts of thuggery, political thuggery here and there. We've heard of some in Rivers State. We've heard of some in one or two other places. And, of course, we know the menace that has been steadily about the unknown gunmen in the south east, which we cannot totally and absolutely attach to the forthcoming elections, even though some faceless columnists in the southeast have expressed that they are against the elections. I don't know how your agitations are ever going to be addressed if you say you don't want elections. But again, when you put all of this together, I mean, one life lost is a pain to every Nigerian, irrespective of where it happened. But when you put all of this together, it's not at a scale where you will say there is a threat to the election.
All right, Honorable Gbenga, here's how we draw the curtains for today. You know, when you leave the Honorable and any issue that concerns Nigeria, he's very, 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 very passionate about what I think something people did not know that I probably should share is Honorable Gbenga actually lived in the UK for a while, and before he moved back to Nigeria. So when he's talking about some social amenities and some basic necessity of life, it's not a wish thing, you know. It's something that he's lived, you know, still living, and he's still seeing the two sides of the coin. And so that's why sometimes when someone like Mr. USA calls, or and he's always talking about the US of A, you know, or the and somebody I know, Mr. Mike, when he calls into a show, he's always talking about the Western world. It's because some of these people, they've seen how it should be, right? And some of them have also experienced elections in other climes. So we hope that we'll be able to get to those points one day.
Someday,
yeah. But
it's a collective effort of
everybody.
Of us. We can move Nigeria to that stage and beyond.
So, Honorable, I would like you now to go and rest, please. So that
save my energy for the election
please, because the energy with which you have used to analyze today, sometimes when you're analyzing, I'm like, God, help this man. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this election. We want to have a laugh at the end of the day after the election. We want to be able to go both those on the other side of the divide. We want to be able to sit down, have a conversation to say, yes, your party played the politics really well. You guys won this one. Next time we'll go harder. And everybody have a bottle of drink together. And we celebrate, put our hands together to work for whoever.
Salvage our country.
Exactly. That's the advocacy you would find on Super FM platforms anywhere, whether Ijebu, Port Harcourt, Lagos, or Edo State. Thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. Everyone who called in, you are amazing. We'll see you again tomorrow.
We are here to stay. We are here for you. Choose us in all you do, and you will be super. Super FM.
Our nation is calling for a new Nigeria. Good governance.